Hi everybody. I am a hobby potter, so I'm not an expert, but I'm going to show you how I trim bowls or other things. I like to make a foot on mine. I think it makes it look a little more, I don't know, different than normal. One thing that I do is I don't like to use clay on around my bowl when I'm trimming, because then I can't trim all the way down. So what I do instead is I take and just wet the edge of my bowl, and then I wet the wheel, and I take and set it on there, and I center it, and I can't pat center it yet. I haven't learned that quite yet, so I use my finger as a guide, and it takes a little longer, of course, and centering it is very important if you want it to come out evenly. So you have to just have a little patience and get it as even as you can. So once you do that, then if you tap on it like this, it's going to stick to the wheel, and that way you can go all the way down to the bottom. Now I have a lot of different tools that I've tried and that I've used. I know these kind, I paid quite a bit for them, and I do use them a little bit here and there, but I have found certain ones that work for me the best, and one of them is this one. It's just a little wire tool, and this one I use quite a bit. And then I also use this one a lot, and I use this one quite a bit, and this one. So those are probably my main ones that I use, and I have different purposes in using them. I'm going to show you that today. So this one I start with, and I do the edge with that. And that usually gets it pretty even around the edge. Then I start doing the middle, and first I want to make sure it's straight across the middle, across the top here, so it's good and even on top. That's why I use this big one. Now if it's not, and this is kind of bumping along, I will use the edge of this to make kind of ridges across it and then do it. So now I'm going to go just a little bit from the edge, make a circle, and then go toward the middle. That creates ridges. And those ridges are more easily cut away and more evenly. And one thing about it when you're trimming is I don't make the wheel go very fast. And I'm slow at this. It takes me more time than probably most people. I also sometimes use this one for the same purpose. I will go in, and then I'll use the big one to smooth it across. Now there are times where the bottom is smaller, and so I can't use this. Then I push in the middle, make sure that and tap on it, make sure that it's not going to go through. If I do a little bit at a time, and then I push each time, and if it goes in at all, that's when you stop. So I'm just going to keep going in, making those ridges. And one thing that I do is I make sure that every surface is curved. Because if you have a straight surface, it's more easy to have it crack, like get chipped. And so you have to be sure that each of your edges are curved. So when I use this one, it makes it nice and smooth along the top there. But when I get down to the near the end, I like to make a little swirly there. But it kind of depends on how much clay there is left. If it's too close, if it pushes in a little too easily, then you don't want to do that. You just want to smooth it off. Oh, there it pushed in just a little bit. So I'm done there on the top. Just let me smooth out, make sure it's good and smooth. Then I'm going to go kind of refine the edges here. That's when I use this little round one, is to kind of round these edges here. Gives it kind of a pretty effect there. And typically, the very inside, the very middle is going to be probably more curved. And so you can kind of do the outside parts a little bit lower than that. And it gives it kind of a neat look when it has that. All right, so now I'm gonna work on the outside, and usually there's quite a bit right here, and so I'm gonna take some of that, and you can kind of tell where that foot is going to be compared to the middle. Now I'm going to bring that in a little bit more. I have some other ones that I use. These are kind of handy. They have some different shapes to them that will get different spots on your pot. And I like to make a pretty dramatic and pretty thick foot. So you can see the glaze is going to stop there. When I go to glaze it, it will not go beyond that foot. Now I'm going to do the bottom here. And the nice thing is I can go, and I'm going to try this one, I can go all the way down to the bottom. But I'm going to start at the bottom because that way the clay is not getting in my way as I'm going up. Now it takes practice to determine how thick you want it. in each spot because you don't want it to go through, but it tends to be more thick at the bottom here. So we don't want to take too much off the top. So I've got this pretty well done here. I'm going to take just a little minute and make sure this is curved on the edge, on each of the edges. And then I'm going to take, I like to have ridges, throwing marks. And so I'm going to take this little round one, and I'm going to just take it and go slowly up the side. And that's going to give me lots of little layers here. Lots of little ridges. All right, so before I take this off, I need to put my maker's mark on there. I usually put the date. You don't want to do it too hard. You don't want to push in the middle too much there. I actually put the kind of clay, initial for the kind of clay I'm using, because I use a couple different kinds, and that way when I'm glazing I know which kind it is. Alright, so then when we go to take it off, you want to put your hands all the way around it so that you're not warping it when you take it off. See, it's on there pretty stiffly. Okay. So I've got it off there. And there you go. You have a nice little bowl. And it's good and trimmed. Here's the bottom. See how I put a little ridge in there. And the foot. It's got a nice little foot where the glaze is going to catch. And that's how I normally trim. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and like and share, and we can all learn from each other. Thanks. Bye.